The 10 biggest bank robberies in the world. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Alux family, and welcome back to another exciting Alux.com original video. Because you guys were really excited when we mentioned it in our last video, we decided to look at the biggest bank robberies. So what exactly are we looking at here? Well, bank robberies are changing these days. It's no longer people with guns, sometimes dressed like clowns for some reason, but highly skilled tech experts who are taking what we know as bank heists to the next level. We've dug around and found the 10 biggest successful bank robberies ever. Let's get started. Number 10. Dunbar Armored, The Inspector's Conspiracy, 1997. Heist, $19 million. One of the largest in U.S. history, this robbery also happened to be an inside job. The guy who planned this was a regional safety inspector for Dunbar Allen Pace. He needed 5 guys in order to pull this off, and recruited some of his childhood friends to ambush the guards at a stocked cash drop vault on a Friday night. Once they gained access to the loot, they loaded up a U-Haul and escaped, nearly getting away with the whole thing until one of the perpetrators got sloppy and eventually confessed. Until this day, more than half of the money remains unaccounted for. Number 9. Brinks M80 Warehouse, The Fiery Robbery. Heist, $30 million. It happened on November 26, 1983, when 6 guys broke into the company's bank facility at Heathrow Airport. They managed to grab $30 million worth of diamonds, gold bullion, and cash. At the time, Anthony Black was the security guard at the facility and helped pull off this robbery. Their original plan involved just £3 million in cash. They knew they were under the lock and key, but that changed once they discovered an additional 3 tons of gold bullion and diamonds. Several subsequent murders have been linked to the case, and while much of the gang involved has since been convicted, the gold has never been recovered. Number 8. Northern Bank, The Family Love, 2004. Heist, $50 million. With a few days before Christmas, a team of robbers posing as officials made their way into the homes of 2 of the bank branch managers, holding them and their families at gunpoint. This happened the night before the heist occurred, and it became the largest bank heist in UK history. The next day, as their families remained under threat, the officials of the Northern Bank were instructed to head to work as normal, and told to let the robbers in at the end of the shift. Once they got into place, the thieves released the families unharmed. The Irish and UK governments blamed the heist on the Irish Republican Army, but they denied any involvement. Many have speculated that the whole thing was the work of the Provisional IRA, or Sinn Féin. But as of today, the crime remains unsolved. Number 7. Banco Central in Florentesa, The Underground Work, 2006. Heist, $69.8 million. It happened in 2005 in Brazil, where the thieves rented a commercial property in the middle of the city and posed as landscapers. Then, the gang behind the robbery spent 3 months digging a 256-foot tunnel into position under the bank. The tunnel was equipped with wooden-paneled walls and electric lights, leading from a house to Banco Central. They took $79.1 million over the weekend, so the authorities couldn't discover it until Monday, which gave these thieves a chance to run away with the money. More than 40 arrests were made, including the criminal mastermind Antonio de Arahab, but only $8 million was recovered. Number 6. Great Train Robbery, 1963. Heist, $74 million. In 1963, the operation orchestrated to intercept a Royal Mail train full of high-value packages and involved 16 robbers. They stopped the train called the Night Flyer, which was en route from Glasgow. The plan involved rigging the trackside signals to stop the train in a remote location, where the conductor was overpowered. The thieves then attacked the staff in the high-value carriage and collected their loot. The men in other parts of the train didn't even realize that the heist had taken place until they found the engine was missing as well as 2 carriages. 120 of the 128 mailbags were removed and the robbers made off with $74 million. Even though most of them left the country, the team was eventually tracked down. Number 5. Securitas Depot. The Cash Cage Hostages, 2006. Heist, $92.5 million. This robbery remained one of the largest cash robberies in British history and was executed in Kent, England, and lasted several hours. It began when a number of men abducted and threatened the family of the bank's manager and tied up 14 employees, and forced the bank's manager to open the cash cages. From there, the criminals were able to steal $92 million in banknotes from the depot, and once the robbers had their money, they left the hostages in cash cages. Most of the crew was later caught and convicted. However, at least one is said to be living off the money as a free man in the West Indies. Number 4. Knightsbridge Security Deposit, the Italian work, 1987. Heist, $200 million, planned by the Italian playboy and famous criminal Valerio Vici. This bank heist took place in July of 1987. The mastermind was already implicated in over 50 different bank robberies during his lifetime. The plan of this robbery was simple. After entering the bank during business hours, under the motive of opening a safety deposit box, he and his armed accomplice began by threatening the manager and staff into submission with handguns. Then, after the control of the bank was gained, Vici called for backup, and his guys came to help him to open as many of the security boxes as possible, and also cleared out the safe. They left with at least $200 million in cash, jewelry, and more. The heist was a complete success. Vici enjoyed a short period of freedom before fleeing to South America, but was later captured when he personally returned to his homeland to pick up his Ferrari. That's a shame. Number 3. British Bank of the Middle East, the Brute Force, 1976. Heist, $210 million. On January 20th, 1976, a group associated with the Palestine Liberation Organization used brute force to gain access into the bank by blasting through a wall that was shared with a Catholic church. Once finished, they reportedly walked away with up to $50 million worth of gold, cash, stocks, and jewels. Today, the stolen loot is valued at over 3 times its worth in 1976, equivalent to about $210 million. Number 2. Dar al-Salam Bank, the Guards at Work, 2007. Heist, $282 million. Many of the details related to this major robbery of mostly American cash still remain covered in mystery. However, the Iraqi Interior Minister did reveal that the entire heist was organized by a pair of guards who worked for the bank. The police even believed that an official at the Interior Ministry was also involved in the robbery, but they didn't have enough proof to confirm that. The bank robbery happened in 2007, overnight and very quietly. This heist, located in Baghdad, is considered to be one of the largest robberies since the 2003 war started. When the employees came into work the next morning, they found the front door open, vault doors ajar, the money gone, and the guards missing. The guards were arrested soon with a small portion of the money. Number 1. Central Bank of Iraq, the Family Business, 2003. Heist, $920 million. The biggest bank robbery in the world involves more money than the rest mentioned on the list combined, and no weapons were used. It all started the day before the US began bombing Iraq, on March 18th. Almost $1 billion was stolen from the Central Bank of Iraq during the course of several robberies. There were no bandit masks, guns, or hostages. The weapon that made this heist possible was a note, signed by Saddam Hussein. He had his son, Qasem, withdraw the money, which included boxes of $100 bills, stamped with a seal identifying them as security money. It took over 5 hours to load the money onto the trucks. The guy basically walked into the bank and said, "My dad needs this," and they basically gave it to him, although the money wasn't his. Qasem was later killed by the United States military in the midst of a fight. If you were to ever rob a bank, how would you do it? And how would you make sure you didn't get caught? Come on, Aluxers, share your mastermind in the comments, and let's see who's the most creative. By the way, we don't need to mention that robbing banks is bad and also illegal, right? You guys are smart people. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxer. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. If you want more, we handpicked these videos you might enjoy, or head over to Alux.com for the best in fine living content on the planet. Be a part of the largest community of luxury enthusiasts in the world and tell your story. Oh, you're still here? Okay, because you've watched to this point, we're going to share a story that everybody else missed because they closed the video early. Bummer for them. So, we're not just making this up, but 61-year-old Paul Neverson walked into a bank, held a knife to the cashier's neck, and had an innovative way to rob it. He asked the clerk to transfer the money into his personal bank account. He had plans to fly out of the country, but somehow the police managed to find his name and information. This might go down in history as the most stupid bank robbery ever, competing with these guys who robbed a bank and then flaunted the cash on social media. We're still debating who gets the trophy. Now go ahead and subscribe. You gotta give it to us. This was an epic video.